how the cooperative movement is changing the narrative. What mechanisms do you put in place to attract the youth that you are really trying to bring into the system?
Thank you so much, Vivian. And I'll start by, again, going back to what I said. When we began working within the cooperative movement, we realized how strong the movement really was. And I mentioned, some quick facts. One of them is that, the cooperative movement in Kenya has a membership of over 14 million Kenyans. As a movement, we have an estimated asset worth of over 1.5 trillion. And what has been mobilized as savings by these members is around 1 trillion. And actually, these are statistics from 2021, the State Department for Cooperatives in the country. And the amount of money that has been advanced in terms of loans and advances is in excess of 980 billion. So we began there. And then we looked at a movement that, regardless of how strong it was really living out a very important section of the population within this country. So what we are doing as global communities right now is we started by, asking questions. What can we do to actually get our young people more engaged, number one? Number two, get our women more involved in the productive aspect of the cooperative movement. Because we all know, especially when you look at the producer cooperatives, the people who work in the farms are actually the women and children, right? I mean, having grown up in a family that had a breast cooperative at that age, we were the people who worked. Obviously, our mother was in charge of that and the children and all that. But the membership number belongs to the fathers, and that means they are in charge and the control of the resources or the amount of money that is coming from the production. And therefore, we wanted to find an opportunity where everyone is able to participate in the entire value chain of cooperative. And the next question we were asking ourselves, so do we tell our young people to go and farm? Remember, the assets are controlled by a section of the population again, because especially when you look at the huge agricultural sector in the country, you need to have access and ownership of land, the coffee bushes, again. For you to really be a member, you have to have a number of coffee bushes to your name. And we realized that is automatically what really kept our mothers out and the young people out of the cooperative movement. And what we did is asking ourselves, so what can we do to actually bring the movement? If Moses cannot go to the mountain can come to Moses. And what we wanted to do is really to find an opportunity that will excite the young people. We are talking about a generation that is so youthful, so energetic, so dynamic. They are excited about so many things. So how can we make the cooperative movement a bit flexible and accommodative so that the young people do not have to change what they love doing? You can still do something you're talented in, something you're so excited about, and still earn a living out of it. And therefore, out of that, we looked at some of the models that are doing very well within advanced economies, like in the US and other countries. And what we came to realize is that there's a worker cooperative business model. As the name suggests, the worker cooperative business model is a business model within the cooperative model that just brings people in with their work, their labor, their skills. Remember, when you look at the cooperative itself by nature, for instance, when you look at the finance cooperatives that are very popular in our country right now, the SACCOs as we know them, you bring in your savings, and then you're able to get loans, you're able to get dividends and all that. Yet we are dealing with a population here that is a bit struggling with money or financing and capital and all that. So when you tell them to join a SACCO, so where exactly are they supposed to be getting money for them to really save regularly? Again, when you look at the producer cooperatives, you need to bring in your produce, the cooperative trades using that produce, and you're able to get your money in return. How the worker cooperative model works, you bring in your energy, you bring in your work, you put in your labor, you put in your excitement. And then as a cooperative together, you're able to share risks, you're able to get work, and therefore you pay the people who are the owners and the members of that cooperative. So that model is so flexible that regardless of what our mothers were doing, they did not have to own coffee bushes anymore. They have an opportunity to come with their skills, their labor. Of course, within the cooperative movement or sector, you need to have a common bond. So what we are asking them, what it is you're working on, can you come together as a group? And again, remember when you talk about the young people in our country right now, there's so many of them who may not be able to get like the certificate of good conduct because they have been involved in some funny things. But do we deny them an opportunity to really reform and join the regulated sectors where they can earn a decent livelihood? And we have very good examples within the cooperative that we are supporting right now. So what we realize is that the model allowed for flexibility. Right now, we have cooperatives that are in, the gig economy, like the theater, the drama. They're just acting, they're having fun, but also it is a cooperative and they're earning a living out of it. We have a group of young people that were just collecting garbage, reforming from a life of, crime and all that. So what we are saying is that the model is so flexible, and the beauty of it is that it is not just restricted to the informal sector. Even the white collar, jobs like the nurses and doctors, especially in the advanced economies, them that have embraced the movement the model have actually been able to come together and form cooperatives and earn decent livelihoods out of that. And again, if time allows, I'll be happy to share some of these examples. And we have found that this model is slowly allowing the young people to join without having to abandon what they were doing previously, allowing our mothers and our girls and our daughters and our sisters and brothers to actually join the movement without necessarily looking at, the traditional models that, left them out, by default, because they did not have the requirement or whatever was required for them to join the cooperative movement. So in that way, we have been able to see the inclusivity, the groups that were initially marginalized and left out. Right now, they are finding their own footing, and we are telling people, the veterans or the people who have been part of the movement for many years, you do not have to leave, but you can be flexible and mentor the new ones who are joining the movement. Vivian, back to you.